Welcome to LSBU Talks, the new visual podcast from London South Bank University. We are joined here today with Baig, who is an alumnus of our LSBU Law School. You graduated in 2008 and she's back with us today to tell us about her time at LSBU and what she's been up to since then. Thank you, Naz, for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Firstly, would you mind telling us just a little bit about yourself and how you came to study at LSBU?
I started off going to sixth form and I started with 4 A-levels when I was first year of uni. Wow. I picked English language, media studies, biology and psychology.
Okay, so not law.
Not law.
Okay.
And what happened is when I was midway through my first year of doing my AS, I was terrible with psychology and I was like really bad with biology. I remember I actually fell asleep in one of my lessons. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. So I actually dropped biology and I dropped psychology. But my college wouldn't let me proceed to second year without picking up another AS. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I picked up law. Oh, wow. And that's where it all started from. And I found that I really enjoyed it, and particularly like the criminal law aspect. So when I finished college, it was like, okay, I knew I wanted to go to uni. Yeah. It was between either an English language degree or a law degree, because I enjoyed law at college, which I never expected. It was never like an aspiration of mine or anything like that. Yeah. And I thought, you know what, there'll probably be more opportunities for me if I do a law degree. So that's why I picked a law degree.
And did you live at home then in East, or did you?
I did.
Okay. How was that?
I come from an Asian background, so my father wouldn't let me move out.
Yeah, no.
Which was a bit unfair. So that was another reason why South Bank was picked, because obviously it was within London and it was within commuting distance. Yeah. So yeah, I lived at home.
Once you started studying here and doing the LLB and was everything the only thing you were studying, was it quite clear that you knew you wanted to go into it as a career afterwards, or did it take a bit of time?
I think I did, because after I did the law degree, because my interest was piqued with criminal law when I started at college, and then when I came and did the law degree, absolutely fell in love with crime, like criminal law. Like it was just the only thing that really, really piqued my interest. And I thought, okay, you know what, I enjoy this. I seem to excel at it. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And as part of the degree, I think it was in the second year, we had like a placement.
Okay.
And I think they still do it, because when I came to the open day, the lecturers were talking about placements, and because they're placing a great emphasis on employability and things like that, and because they've got the legal advice clinic. Yeah. We never used to have that.
Oh, was it not here?
No, it wasn't. Oh. We didn't have that. And so in my time, we're going back a while, I graduated in 2008. So I was at the uni between 2005 up to 2008. And I was placed in, they had these notice boards where they would post up law jobs.
Okay.
And there was one that had been put up for a drugs charity called Release.
Oh, cool.
And they were looking for law students who could come in and help operate the legal telephone helpline. Wow. So that kind of got my foot into the door with, in terms of whetting my appetite with working within the criminal law system. Okay. Not so much as criminal defence, but within actual realms of it. Yeah. So after I finished the degree and everything, I was like, okay, I know what I want to do. I want to do something in criminal law.
Before we get into like the nitty gritty of it, tell us about after graduating. So you graduated in 2008. Yeah. Did you graduate at South Bank Centre, or were you in the Southwark Cathedral?
In the cathedral.
Oh, nice. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did.
It's a nice
I still remember I paid for that DVD, because I'm going to cherish this. I paid for it. I never watched it back. It's just one of those things that you think, you know what, it would be a nice memento, but then you just never
No, really, you've got it there, but it's one of those things. Yeah, no. Oh, that's lovely. What did you do next? Did you go straight into work?
I went to law school.
Okay.
So I went to BPP Law School in Holborn. Yeah. And because once I graduated with a 2-1, and I thought, look, I've gone through 3 years of this, and it would be a waste if I don't do something with it.
And how was that? Was that like a big transition from? Yeah, I can imagine. How long is it?
It's 1 year.
Okay. Oh God, yeah.
But it felt like 3 years of a degree crammed into that 1 year.
Goodness, yeah, I can imagine.
It was it was intense.
Yeah. And then from that, do you then go on and do, like, how does it work? What was your next step after that? So you completed
So
that
whilst
1
I
year.
was at, even whilst I was at uni, I was doing work at the weekends.
Okay.
And then when I went to law school, I was working at the weekends. So I was trying to get in whatever law experience I could in terms of the working world. I continued with the drugs charity for a good year.
Okay.
So I didn't just stick with it as part of, you know, what LSBU were trying to encourage. The experience I picked up from there it opened up different opportunities for me, because it was like, okay, I've now got my experience in assisting members of the public with queries to do with controlled drugs. Because we're talking about, you know, things like Class B, Class A, Class C.
Yeah.
And you'd get a lot of people contacting the legal telephone helpline asking for advice. And it could be like one day you'd be getting a query from a mother who's found drugs in her son's bedroom and wants to know what to do about it. Or you'll get someone who's contacting you because they're interested in steroids and they want to know if it's a controlled drug.
God, that is so different.
So it is. So that's the kind of stuff I was dealing with. So it exposed me to, okay, the legislation around controlled drugs.
Yeah.
And again, it whet my appetite, and then it just allowed me to look at what other opportunities were out there to try and explore that further.
Okay, that's brilliant. Yeah, and it's like, I think it's really good to have those early things that then when you've got that spark, and then you know, okay, this is what I love doing.
And it was literally just chasing that interest.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that's interesting. Let me just follow down that route and see where it takes me. And it was literally like that.
So your current job now, criminal justice.
No, I'm a criminal defence solicitor.
Criminal defence solicitor. Okay, sorry. So and then. How did you get into that straight after all the courses, or did you do more?
No, you have to do more.
It's long, isn't it?
It's a very, very long process. So you do the law degree.
Yeah.
You go to law school and do your postgraduate diploma, which was a legal practice course.
Right, okay.
And then you have to go on to do a training contract.
Of course, yeah.
So it's like 2 years training on the job.
And that's all different things as well. It's not just, you can't
Yeah,
just do
you have
criminal,
to do a seat in different areas of law. And then once you qualify, it's up to you whatever sector you want to go into.
Nothing else tickled your fancy? Or was it always criminal? Yeah.
I did do family law, but you know, I've got a lot of like friends and colleagues that are in the family law department, and they probably might not family law department, the family law field. Yeah. So I'm not going to be too critical, but it's not something that I could do.
And what is it about like criminal and that kind of area of it that feels like law to you? Like, what is it? Is it like a rush that you get from that kind of dealing with those kind of issues, or how is it?
I think it's because it's exciting, it's interesting, and it's quite fast paced.
Right, yeah.
And I'm the type of person, I work well under pressure. It sounds really crazy, but if I've got a deadline to work towards, it's like, okay. Yeah. And with crime compared to family law, it was more a case of, with crime, you're like following legislation. There's rules and regulations and things like that. Whereas I didn't feel that much. It was like that in family law.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, I just found crime more interesting. It's what gripped me.
And how much would you say it's like, as that area of law, how much would you say it's changed in the last like 10 years since you graduated, or 15 years since you graduated? Like, is it a really different space from when you left LSBU? Do you feel like things have altered a lot? Do you feel like you were prepared enough for it now? Like, what's the big difference?
I think the biggest change was how everything's come into the digital age.
Yeah.
Because back then we didn't have, everything was done on paper. Like, if I think back to when I started working in the legal field back then, everything was being done by post, fax.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've had people from the younger generation not ever using a fax is. Or like a franking machine.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's mad.
Which shows my age. But yeah, the biggest change is coming into the digital age, because everything is now like electronic.
Would you say you're still as in love with it as you were when you studied it?
It sounds really sad, but yeah.
Yeah? Oh, that's good. That's lovely.
Yeah,
that's
like, I enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy it. It does make a real impact to everyone. You know, no matter who you are. You could be on a night out with your friends, and a brawl has broken out in a bar. Next thing you know, you're being accused of chucking something at someone.
Wow.
And next thing you know, you've been arrested. So, you know, you can come from any walk of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I have represented lawyers, I've represented, you know, professional people from all walks of life. And it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Criminal justice system can affect anyone.
What does it mean to be a criminal defence lawyer?
Okay, so I'm a criminal defence solicitor,
Mm-hmm.
and I also run my own branch office in
Wow.
East London. So I'm the head of the East London division
Okay.
for my firm. So we have our head office is in West London,
Mm-hmm.
which is where I did all my training, did all my qualifications, etc. And then I was presented with an opportunity to run my own office.
Wow.
And so now I'm in charge of the whole East London division,
That's crazy.
which is great because which is where I grew up.
Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, and I'm also qualified as a duty solicitor,
Okay.
which basically means that I can represent people as a duty solicitor in police stations and magistrates' court.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of misconception that, oh, if you're a duty solicitor, you're linked to the police, and it's not that at all. It
Right.
basically means that you have done an extra qualification
Okay.
to be able to represent someone literally on your feet when you're in court.
Right, so you just get called and then you go in and help. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Yeah. So at the police stations you get calls,
Yeah.
and then at the magistrates' court you get
Wow.
you'll be sat in a room
Mhm.
for anyone who needs to be represented.
Yeah.
So we've been examined on our legal knowledge and our ability to think on our feet and to make oral advocacy, because we only get 10 minutes prep time. Like we'll be given case papers. I've got to read those case papers within like 10 minutes, process it, explain it to the client, get their version of events, advise them, and then go straight into the hearing.
My goodness.
And that's what we're examined on. So
Wow.
that is the duty status qualification. So I'm qualified in that.
Okay.
And that has allowed me to, you know, progress further. And I'm also a supervisor in criminal legal aid.
Oh, wow, okay. That's what does that entail, the supervisor?
So being a supervisor means that I can supervise other fee earners. So people who are practicing criminal law,
Yeah.
I can supervise their work. I can supervise juniors, members of staff, like police station accredited representatives. I can supervise them and do file reviews, things like that.
Okay.
Because when you go into legal aid work, the government has given the firm a contract to undertake this work.
Yeah.
And they have all these compliance requirements. So you need to have demonstrated that you have undertaken X amount of
Right.
hours of work to be able to be at that level of supervisor.
Oh, wow.
And that's what it allows you to do.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's quite nice as well, it must be, to work with those kind of people that are earlier on in their career as well. Do you enjoy it? Like, do you find that quite satisfying to be able to
I
work?
do.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, back in 2021, I reached out to the alumni team because I found that I had some time.
Yeah.
And we set up a mentoring program. And it was the first time they'd launched anything like that. And we did this whole application process where undergrads applied to be mentored by me.
Wow.
And they gave an application form, their CV and their cover letter. And in the end, I ended up mentoring 6 undergrads from LSBU. And off the back of that, I ended up recruiting one of those mentees as my paralegal.
Wow.
So it was just nurturing, because she started with me when she was in her first year of uni at LSBU.
That's amazing.
She has now graduated, and now she's spread her wings and she's flown off
that's
to explore
brilliant.
different areas of law.
Yeah, oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with any of
Yeah,
them?
I keep in touch with her.
What would you say is your most proud achievement since graduating from LSBU? Like,
I think one of my biggest goals, when I knew, like, okay, I want to become a solicitor, my biggest goal was to qualify as a solicitor before I turned 30.
oh, wow.
And I think I was 24 or 25 when I graduated, I think.
That's young, yeah.
I felt older because I took a gap year
Right.
after sixth form. I took a gap year and then I went into uni.
Right.
So I felt like I was approximately like a year older than the people that were
Wow.
starting. But yeah, like my goal was to qualify before I turned 30. So that was like a massive achievement because I managed to do it when I was like 29.
Yeah.
So I was still like really close to 30.
But you got it.
But
That's amazing.
I clinched it.
Yeah.
And then the only other like milestone that I can think of is when I was presented with the opportunity to run my own branch office.
Yeah, that's incredible. Especially where you grew up as well. That must have been such a being in that
because
community.
even though I grew up in Forest Gate in East London, and although I did all my schooling and my childhood is there, everything like that, for some reason I always found work in West London.
Okay, yeah.
When I started working for the drugs charity that LSBU helped me with, that was in Old Street.
Oh, wow.
And then I started working for firms, started off in Tottenham, and then from there I started working in West London, and that was it. Like, my career took off in West London.
Weird, yeah.
So I was commuting daily, east to west, every single day for like a good 5 years. And then I subsequently moved to West London, and like, just to progress things. So then when I was given the opportunity to like run my own branch office, I was given free reign about the location. And it was like a no-brainer. I was like, I'm going back to East.
Of course, yeah. You got
Although I grew up there and I know the streets and I know everywhere, like the police stations, of course, I've never actually practiced in there.
Which is mad, yeah.
So I've been doing it since October 2022.
Okay, so relatively
new, yeah.
And you're enjoying it though? Like, is it nice being in that place where you grew up and stuff? It must be seeing it from a completely different side as well.
Yeah, it is, because it's like when, like, just random things, like when I'm representing a client and you're reading your prosecution papers and they're saying that this offence took place on this road, I'm like, I know that road. I know someone that lives there. So it's like one of those things.
So, and are you back out East now? Do you live back out there, or are you
so I'm in East.
Oh, amazing.
I love it.
Back where you started. That's wonderful.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant. So very final question for you is, and thank you so much for all of this has been incredible. Okay. What message would you like to give to the current students at LSBU, or perhaps people who are considering doing a law degree here? Like, what would be the thing that you could tell them? It can be like advice, anecdote about your time here, but what do you want to say to them all?
Oh my God. It's just what I said before. Like, make sure you enjoy it. Like, because a lot of people, they think, oh, law can be glamorous, and don't get me wrong, like, there are certain aspects of it that is glamorous, and like the title and the status that comes with it. It can be very mentally taxing,
right?
And if you're going to get into it, put your head down, go to your lectures, go to your seminars. And it sounds so like, I sound like really like an old biddy when I say that, but it genuinely, it's like, when you start missing lectures, you end up falling behind, and it's so difficult to catch up. Go to your lectures, find what you enjoy, even if it's a little aspect of a particular subject, and just run with what you enjoy. That's all I can say, to be honest with you.
No, that's great. Commit to something. Yeah. That's wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. That was brilliant. Thank you so much for being here. It's been so interesting to kind of hear a bit more about your experience, but then at LSBU, but then going forward. And I know everyone's going to be really excited to learn more about
hopefully.
it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And hopefully we can get you back again. You can do some more mentorship, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, if I can find the time.
You can find us on YouTube and Spotify, so please stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. We can't wait for you to hear them.